Hi, King-Chavez friends. It's Miss Homan from Room 9. I am here to do a social studies lesson with you about Cesar Chavez. Cesar Chavez is obviously a very important person for the world, but also for our school, since he is one of our two namesakes. That means who our school is named after. And because of this quarantine, we didn't get a chance to learn about him before we left school. So we are going to read a story today and do a little activity. So go ahead and pause this video and grab a piece of paper and something to write with. Pen, pencil, crayon, marker, anything that you want to write with. So go ahead and push pause and I will be here waiting. All right, I hope you had a chance to get what you needed. And we are going to look at a story right now about Cesar Chavez. And we are going to, the first thing we're going to do is look at the glossary. So we can look at those words that we need to know. It's always important to look at those vocabulary words before we read a story, just like in Wonders or in Power Half Hour, so that we can know the words that we might come across that we don't quite know what they mean. So here is our glossary at the back. The first word is conditions. It is the state in which someone or something lives or works. So an example that I think of is the conditions of our classroom are very helpful to us learning. The conditions on the playground during recess are very fun and exciting. The Great Depression, which is our next vocabulary word, is a period of bank and money problems from 1929 to 1939 that left many Americans without work, homes, or food. Our next unknown word, important word, is hunger strike, the act of refusing to eat to show that you strongly disagree with something. A protest, an event where people object to something. Shack, a small building that is not put together well. Union, a group of workers formed to aid the rights and interests of its members. Last word is violence, the use of force to hurt someone or break things. So those are words that we are going to come across in our story. Our story is Cesar Chavez, and it is by Joan Stoltman. This book is on Epic if you want to go back and read it again, or if you would like to read it while you do the activity after you watch this video. Please know that you can pause and rewind this video whenever you need to as we're going along. So I will tell you in our writing activity when you can pause it, or when would be a good time to pause it so that you can do your activity along with me. So our table of contents shows us that we are going to read about a hard childhood, time for change, what did his union do, giving all he had. And then we have our glossary for more information and our index. A hard childhood. Cesar Chavez was born to Mexican-American parents in 1927. His parents owned a farm and store, but when he turned 11, everything changed. Cesar's family, like many families, lost their land because of the Great Depression. Cesar and his family became migrant workers, which meant they moved from town to town for farm work. They worked every day from 3 a.m. to sunset. There weren't bathrooms, rest breaks, or even clean drinking water. They were paid very little. Oh, I added a word. This is an example of some migrant workers traveling. Cesar's back hurt from bending over all day to pick fruits and vegetables. Families like Cesar's lived in shacks, tents, cars, or on the ground. They had no heat or running water. There were no laws keeping workers safe, so farmers could treat them badly. Time for change. Caesar's childhood showed him much change was needed. As a young man, he read books by peacemakers like Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., and St. Francis of Assisi. From these peaceful men, he learned that change was possible. And if you think back to January when we were studying Dr. King, we also learned that Dr. King learned from Mahatma Gandhi that peaceful change was possible. In 1962, Caesar started a union to fight for better pay and conditions for migrant workers. To get workers to understand how a union would help them, he became a migrant worker again. That way, they could talk while they worked. What did his union do? Caesar's union only used peaceful methods to speak out. They planned marches and protests, holding up signs about the changes they wanted. Caesar taught them to stand their ground and never turn to violence or yelling. He was jailed many times for his work. And if you remember, another thing that we learned about Dr. King was that he too was jailed many times. Caesar's union planned strikes and boycotts, which cost growers money. In a strike, workers refuse to work until changes are made. During boycotts, many people joined the cause by refusing to buy certain foods until workers were treated better, giving all he had. Caesar even went on hunger strikes several times. He lived by the words "si se puede." This is Spanish for yes, it can be done. When he died in 1993, over 40,000 people marched to show their respect for this peaceful leader. Caesar's work led directly to laws helping migrant workers. He also changed lives in factories, stores, and other jobs. He showed workers everywhere how to make their voices heard. This world is a better place because of Cesar Chavez. On this second page, we have for more information, and there's some books that you can read, and there's some websites that you can go look at if you want to learn more about him. And then we have our index that tells us if we wanted to learn about how Cesar Chavez learned from Martin Luther King Jr., we would go to pages 10 and 11. And then there's also more little biographies of big people, which is some super awesome books that you can find on Epic. So what we are going to do now is grab that paper and our pencil. Oh, my pencil disappeared. And we are going to go ahead and have to get the iPad working, just like in the classroom. There we go. And we have our paper here. Oh, almost fell over. It's just like being in the classroom, right, guys? We have our paper and we are going to, Oh, it zoomed out. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay, we are going to do a line from top to bottom, as well as side to side, and put the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, because we are going to do 4 things about what we just learned, and I have mine already right here. So the first little section that we have is something I learned about Cesar Chavez. So what is something that you learned about Cesar Chavez? I'm going to think, and I learned that he learned from Martin Luther King Jr. about peaceful protests. And I am going to draw a sign like what they carried during their protest that says, "Si se puede." And maybe you just want to draw the sign. But this is a great chance for you to pause, go ahead and put in something that you learned about Cesar Chavez, and then pause the video again, and we will move on to the next section. The next one is something Cesar Chavez did to help his community. So he was looking specifically at his community of migrant workers and Mexican Americans, and how could he help them? So you could think, but he ended up helping the community of the whole world and workers all over the place. So he made a huge impact. So he, let me think. He helped workers get better conditions for work. So I'm trying to think, how could I draw that? Oh, I know. I'm going to draw a clock that shows 5 o'clock. That's what time you should stop working. How am I like Cesar Chavez? So this one and the next one, I'm so excited to see what you guys share with your teachers so they can tell me. So you're going to think of it in a way that you are like Cesar Chavez. And so you can pause the video and think, and this is a really great time for you to really think about all the different ways that you're like Cesar Chavez. I was not born in 1917, so I'm not like that. But let me think. Oh, I know. I also want to help others. And that is a way he really, that was his mission, was to help the people around him. And I really want to help others. That's why I became a teacher, so that I can help all sorts of different kids learn and become amazing students and people who are contributing to our community. What can I do to help my community? Now, you might be thinking, we are quarantined, we can't leave our house, I have no idea what I can do to help my community. I'm 8, I'm 7, I don't know what I can do. And you're right. There's a lot of things right now that make it hard, but there's so many things you can do to help your community. If you think about your community as your family, or as your neighborhood, or as your friends in your family, your cousins. So what can I do to help my community? So I'm trying to think. A lot of things right now during this quarantine. So I can check with all of my neighbors to see if they need anything. That is something that I can do right now, even from my house, to see if they need anything. For example, I have hand sanitizer. Maybe they need some hand sanitizer and I can give it to them. or tissues, or maybe they need someone to cook them dinner. Those are all different things I can do to help my neighbors as part of my community. What is something you guys can do to help your community? And I know that I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see the ideas that you guys come up with, because I know that you can come up with so many ideas. So this is another great time to pause. Go ahead and write what you can do to help your community. I am going to turn off the iPad so that it's just me. Friends, I am so excited about this lesson. I am so excited to see what you guys come up with, because I know you have amazing ideas. These kind of lessons make me so happy, because I know that you guys can do so much. And I know that you know that too. And your teachers, we all believe in you, and we know that you can do this even during this really rough time. So one thing that I was thinking about when I was coming up with different ideas for this lesson was, every day I walk Jake, and every day we go through different areas of our community, and everyone says hi, which is so awesome, which is, even that little thing helps me feel better. But some of the kids in my community have been taking chalk out to the sidewalk and making really cool mosaics. They're putting tape down and making patterns and just filling it in, and just leaving little messages saying, like, have a great day. We're all in this together. Keep walking. Happy Easter, happy spring. And these are all just, they make me feel so happy inside, guys. And I know that this is stuff that you could do. You could even make just a little sign to put in your window saying, we're all together in this. We're going to make it. And just encouraging your neighbors in that little itty bitty way that you might think is silly, but it's just so awesome to just see the neighbors come together. So what can you do, guys? I know like I said, I'm so excited to see the different ideas that you come up with. Please, please, please know that your teachers believe in you, and we love you, and we miss you. And I'm giving you a virtual hug right now. I wish I could hug you. But also, I know that you guys can do this activity, even if you just draw some pictures. If you can't think of any great words, you can just draw what you're going to do. So what I want you to do is do that activity. Go ahead and take a picture of it, post it onto your Class Dojo portfolio, and I am so happy to see what you guys are going to share with your teachers, and I can't wait to ask them when I see them what your classmates and you have come up with of how you can help your community, just like Cesar Chavez. Next week, we're going to have another community social studies lesson with a different character, and this is a character, not a person that we know about. And I'm just so excited to come back and share with you even more social studies and more exciting things, and just to see your ideas. So we miss you. I am here if you need me. Please reach out and go ahead and share those ideas and talk to your family and come up with some great ideas about how you can help your community, just like Cesar Chavez helped his. Bye.